And welcome everybody to Maelstrom Radio. My name is Peter. With me, as always, is my good friend and co-host Quinton. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Seems to be in a musical mood today.
My name is Vitus, and I'm here to say that I can rap in a major way.
Might need to work on it a little bit.
I can throw rhymes and records and ghouls. Ghouls? It's October.
Right. It's true.
I can throw down with all the other fools. Yeah, rapping.
Whoa.
Can you imagine like wholesome rapping? Like doesn't have to be good, it just has to be wholesome. Like
Yeah. I mean, it exists.
I'm sure it does. Chili
Will Smith. Mm-mm.
I like to take naps and drink cookies and milk. My PJs are made of the finest silk.
Why does that remind me of something? I can't place it, but it's
I don't know.
that is a little disappointing.
With Jazzy Jeff. Specifically that era. I think that's the less cozy of them. So, yeah. Well, Susan just said, I just realized right now that this is our only October recording. So now Halloweeny episode. Oops. Well, you know, it's can be spooky.
I mean,
I can make it spooky.
The bowels of El Diablo.
That do it for
we
you?
we missed out. We had all of our like fancy Halloween stuff last year's.
Yeah, we did. What you can do? Can I can do one of these.
That's better. That's better. I mean, this is our only like recorded podcast. So hello,
True.
everyone listening to this will be the spookies, but it's not our only stream for this month. We are definitely doing a lot more.
Yeah, there's more
spooky streams.
Really, the streams are spookier than the show.
That's accurate. Yes.
Yeah. Also, it's Spanish Heritage Month, so it's National Hispanic Heritage Month. So. Okay. I get myself a little bit. We need
to get a spooky version. They overlap so nicely.
Like, do I add like a bat or something?
Not sure how a bat would work here, but all right.
I don't know what else I got in here that's scary other than the. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Well, you know, can't win them all. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Such devastation.
I don't know how to get. Well, you know, I actually, you know, I do know how to get out of it. I think. Maybe. Is that getting us out of it?
Out of what?
No. All right. Well, you know what that means.
Try that. Finish it off. Oh. Not where I thought that was gonna go, but all right.
It's bad. It's Bad Joke Friday. It's just
every Friday.
It's the only way to get. You know, it's the only way to get out of it is to get us out of it is by playing a.
Do you only do this on our podcast, or do you do it on other ones too?
What? Roundabout? It's the only way to roundabout back towards the show. Did you never know that's what that meant? It's to get us back on track.
Yeah, no, it never works. No, I hear you were on the weekly cooldown this week, so that's why.
I
Was it just as
was
chaotic?
so no, well, sorta. So yeah, I was on the weekly cooldown this week. I won't ruin the entire episode. Just go listen to it, because that's how you make people go do things. I can't make you do anything, but I suggest you go listen to it. No, I had a lovely conversation with Combi Jace about being Hispanic and what's it like, you know, doing content creation as someone with Hispanic heritage. And I think the one thing I shared with him that I can share here, I would go listen to the whole thing as we get into some like talking about MMOs and other stuff, is that I think I did myself a disservice not speaking more about my heritage early on when I started doing podcasting, and it wasn't until I like within the last, I don't know, let's say year, 2 years, that I've started like saying like, hey, I'm Cuban. Like, really, it was just like me because hear me because I have knowledge about how MMOs and their game design, and talking with you about that. Like you were more you're more on like the you know like the coding and things like that. I'm more like, but what if? But what if? Chili. This is not a spoiler, but Chili says, "I'm sorry for spoiling the show, but I learned that you could see Cuba from where you were." That's true. If you go to Key West and go to the farthest key, there is a point where you can see it on a clear. It has to be a clear day, but Cuba's 90 miles, and you can see the island, so you can see it visibly with your naked eye. So just that's how it be. So yeah, again, go listen to the show.
And facts.
Yeah, Chili says it's the UK. You can see France on a clear day from Dover. They say that on a clear day in Dover, you can see Chili's underpants.
Yeah, there's no coming back from that one.
Nope.
Nope.
So yeah, I was on the weekly cooldown. Yeah, we talked about, like I said, we talked a little bit about everything. MMOs, my culture. Having listened to your show and having listened and like being on the one I did, there were totally different questions and and totally different aspects of things. And
I would hope so. There's very different topics.
There's very different topics. So I think he asked like similar questions in the vein of like some certain things, but a lot of it like because there is a I'm technically second generation Cuban on my dad's side because my dad's from Cuba. So I'm hello. So, and it's not like the other half of me is still an immigrant side as well because my other side is Italian. So it's like, yeah, I got double whammied. I got a double immigrated. I don't know.
Double whammy to immigration, but also double the good food.
Yeah, well, double the carbs, double the immigration, double the fun. Flatus.
I feel like you need to put that on a business card somewhere so you can give it out to people.
That's how I landed my fiance. I don't know if you know.
Oh. Yeah, I should have seen that one coming. That's appropriate.
They say if I play that too many times, we get copyright strike.
Well, might be a good thing if they take us off the air. Anyways, speaking of ending things, patch 6.5 came out in Final Fantasy 14, but we don't know about it because neither of us have played.
That is very true.
I still don't have a sub.
I do. I saw it. I busy week. What do you want from me? Busy week. I was playing other stuff and entertaining the people that watch this stream. So it's okay.
That was an interesting stream last night.
It really was. Did anybody end up with who they wanted to be? I don't think so.
No. I mean, technically, I kind of did, but only because I made a mistake at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And at that point, I decided I was not going for anybody.
I mean, I knew who I really. My heart yearned for what I knew I couldn't have. So.
That's an accurate way of saying that. Yes.
So
you shot. You took your shot anyway.
Yeah, no, I gotta, shoot your shot. That's, that's the advice part of. It's the hard. This is the advice aspect of Maelstrom Radio. Shoot your shot. But be nice about it. But shoot your shot. Don't be weird.
And then the rest of your life regret that moment.
And if they say no, just be like, all right, then you never have to wonder if. What if? Like, you never know. You don't. And then you can move on. You have that. Close the book. Keep moving.
Yeah, you remember how you moved on in the game?
Well,
wasn't good.
Yeah, it's fine. I was hella swole.
That's true. You're swole floaties.
Yeah, swolies, swoties.
They were called swole floaties.
They were swole floaties. That's true. I would wear.
I don't know what the purpose of them was.
Wasn't there a SpongeBob episode where he had swole floaties or like muscle arms that he could inflate? I feel like that's a thing.
I could not tell you.
I wonder if swole floaties are a thing. Yeah, I'll probably play 6.5 this weekend if I have time. If not, sooner or later I'll finish 6.5. And then I like the concept of this arc, but at the same time, just kind of like it's the filler arc, and I feel like we're going into more filler arc, and it's like,
right.
Like I hope it ends. I hope it ends better than it has. Like, I'm not saying the writing was bad. It's just not connecting with me as it should have, and that's fine. Like what's it called? Stormblood didn't really connect with me. Shadowbringers did. Heavensward did. Like, those were two. I think two. Storylines that I liked way better than this current. Like, but anyway, we'll see what happens. So Susan and I finished. Speaking of games we're actually playing, Susan and I finished another chapter of Living World Season 1. We did the nightmare, the Tower of Nightmares.
A fun one.
It was fun. Boy, we were not expecting what we went through. Like, I know you could skip things. I guess you could just go straight to the end and do the story, right? Like, I think they said that you could do that.
Only once you complete so many events. You still have to complete a certain level.
Yeah, we did that. But we went through, like, we found a group, like, we met two people and they were like, oh no, we're going to do this. And like, we went through a different instance and we died the first time. Didn't end well. So we did it again. And this time we
usually just find random people and they just kind of keep going.
Yeah, no, the second time there was a large group that us, the two other people, and then we finally got to a giant group that all like was just working together. At that point, it was easy, and we got to the end of it, and it was crazy. Like, it was a lot of fun. So
I did warn you repeatedly that was the hardest thing in the whole first season.
Oh, I loved it.
It was really good content. It's really interesting, and I would have liked to see it in its original form. Because originally, so now that you've seen it, not to spoil it for anyone else listening, that was in the world live. So, again, the inside wasn't. It was still instance, but it was a public dungeon, which is similar to what it was today, but it was current content, so everyone would have been running it. But like, the tower was fully there. That's how the tower was, because that's why that zone looks the way that it does now. Like, if you go to it now, you'll see the tower's destroyed, everything's exploded.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like, and that's what it has looked like since that point. But before that, it looked like a normal place, and then that tower suddenly appeared, and then it exploded.
Yeah, and there was like weird like dander, like pollen all over the place that was like causing nightmares. Like, it was it was pretty solid. Like it kind of like
Mhm.
the transitioning of that world, that scene was pretty great.
And
It,
now you get to learn finally what happened with the city.
yeah, we're on that next. Yeah, that's the next thing.
Yeah, that's
So,
the next one up.
yeah, that's the next one. So and then I don't know what happens after that. Like, do we go to the expansion after that, or do we?
Living World Season 2.
So that's still a part of the main game.
Yes.
Okay.
There is no non-main game.
Okay.
Side stories are done through collections.
Okay. Like I'm just trying to like understand like how they. Well,
Yeah, so the way that it is, you have your core game that
Yeah.
takes you up through your 0 to 80 experience, your full leveling,
Mhm.
and introduces you to the world and the Elder Dragons, and you take out Zaitan.
Got it.
Spoilers. It's like 12-year-old content. Deal with it. 11. And then you have Living World Season 1, which was originally they were going to try to do massive things with the world and change it and have all these things, and they learned after that was a really bad idea because it's hard to make content like that and it's not replayable.
Sure.
So it's very unique, and it just came back last year in a replayable format. But that's Living World Season 1. It was basically Living World Season 1 is introducing you to your core companions.
Mhm.
So far, you've met Bram, you've met, I don't remember them here, Rox,
Yep.
Marjorie, and
The other one.
she's my
Marjorie.
favorite. Why can I not remember her?
Is it Marjorie's mesmer friend?
Cass.
Yeah,
Casimir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Frostbite. Don't forget about Frostbite.
Frostbite is true. Frostbite is the most important of them all. Rox's companion. Who else would you have met at this point?
No, those 4. Oh, what's his face? The weird captain. He doesn't travel with us, right? He's too busy saving the queen, right? He just works for the
Are
queen.
you talking about Logan?
Yeah.
You met Logan back in core game. Logan was
Okay.
not part of us. So if you remember from the core game, kind of, this is more explained through the dungeons than anything, but way back when, before all of this, the end. No. Less important, but more full of himself.
The Arthas of Guild
So
Wars.
yeah, that's probably more accurate. Less of a dick though. So way back when, a guild formed called Destiny's Edge, and that was Zoja and Logan and Kaith and
Beyonce and
Snaf and Air. Right, those are the main core characters. There's one per race. Lovely for everyone. Plus Snaf, who is dead, so isn't included in that. But anyways, they formed the guild Destiny's Edge. They tried to kill an Elder Dragon. They tried to take out Why can't I say Kralkatorrik? There we go. They failed.
Yeah.
Snaf died in the process,
Yeah.
along with Glint.
Yep.
And basically, they kind of all went their separate ways and blamed each other for it. Core game, they kind of eventually resolved their differences and came back towards the end. Yes, they're kind of similar to the Science of the Seventh Dawn, but less important. So
Fair.
because these are people that had their own thing to play, but they did their own thing. So Logan's part of that group. You now are meeting your companions who are going to be with you for your storyline. So these are probably closer to analogous to the Scions. This would be Bram, Rox, Marjorie, and Casimir. There's more, but you haven't met them yet, so no spoilers.
All right.
I feel like you might have met them, but I don't know, so I'm not going to say anything just in case. You haven't done Twisted Marionette, have you? It's a giant marionette. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you have not. You will know. Okay. So that's when that character comes out. So there's still more characters for you to meet.
Okay.
But that's the first Living World season. So they wrap that up. That's your introduction to all of your companions. Living World Season 2 is basically the gap between what's happened in core and what's happened with your companions, and how do we get to Heart of Thorns, the expansion. Heart of Thorns is the expansion itself, and then Living World Season 3 is what happened after Heart of Thorns, and why are we going up to Path of Fire? So it's that transition period again, and then Path of Fire, of course. Living World Season 4 is, again, what happens after Path of Fire and what's going to bring us to the next piece of content. It ends on a very that was the part. Living World Season 4 is where I personally really enjoy. That's my favorite piece of content, is that Living World Season 4 and Icebrood Saga, which follows afterwards, which is they kind of dropped off the whole expansion thing. So Icebrood Saga was the next Living World, but they didn't call it Living World anymore. It's just Icebrood Saga. But it's the same sort of idea. So that takes you through a whole other storyline now. So it's not quite an expansion, but it is also not quite a living world. It's not transitionary. It's its own story. And then when that finishes, you're basically thrown directly into End of Dragons, because there's a long gap between after that. And it was kind of like everything, this is all wrapped up. And okay, so now what? So End of Dragons kind of starts relatively abruptly with all of that going on. It has a nice ending with kind of pseudo living world. That's not living world, but there's a couple extra quests that happen after the expansion before the next. And then same thing, the new expansion comes in, and you're kind of just like thrown right into it. Again, there are things that happen to the world that you'll be able to see when you get to that point. That was actually really neat, and people were speculating in it, but I won't mention it because it's not really spoilery or anything, but it makes a lot more sense when you get to the part. Okay. There was a giant floating tower in the sky, castle in the sky, and it disappeared. Ooh. It was there for 12 years, 11 years, and it just disappeared.
Mystery.
Yeah. That's the expansion. So yeah, that's basically where you are. You are halfway through getting to Heart of Thorns, and you are now in the why are we doing Heart of Thorns? Why is this a big deal? If you're a Sylvari, actually, I highly recommend that Susan does all of the instance content for this, because Susan is a Sylvari. Heart of Thorns is the Sylvari expansion.
Oh, okay. Well,
there's Susan a lot of extra content just for Sylvari. Extra dialogue, extra a whole bunch of stuff. Ignore the voices in your head. Anyways, yeah.
Ignore the voices in your head. All right, harder than it sounds. Yeah, so what you're saying is that we still have how much more time until we get to, I'm not going to say the latest expansion, but because I know that's
no. So to get to Heart of Thorns, the first expansion is about the same amount of time that you spent since you finished the core game. So there were 5 Living World seasons or episodes. Right, you're on the 5th one right now. Yeah. Battle for Lion's Arch. The next one, I believe, is 8, but a bunch of them are smaller.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
So it ends up being about roughly the same amount of time. And after Heart of Thorns still has pacing issues, but after Heart of Thorns, they kind of get into their pacing a lot more. So after Heart of Thorns, it's very consistent. There are 6 episodes after Heart of Thorns for Living World Season 3. There's 6 episodes for Living World Season 4. There's technically 6 episodes for Icebrood Saga, and then you have your expansions. Your expansions are broken up into a series of acts. Heart of Thorns is, I think, 3 acts. The other ones are like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Twisted Marionette would be the first quest in the Battle for Lion's Arch chapter. Okay. And that is the... you get to meet new friends.
Yeah, new friends.
And it is my second favorite friend.
New friends.
That's my favorite.
So
enjoy.
Speaking of new things.
Yes.
I
hear you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to tell me about?
So what if I told you there's an indie MMO being worked on by an old EverQuest developer?
Find old EverQuest developer, because there's a lot of them.
Well, his name's Sean, aka Loving Robot. And
never heard of them.
Well, I didn't either, because and you know, fun fact, Sean, aka Loving Robot, worked on on EverQuest during its
back when I was baby.
But yeah, I would say that. Like, so he started off as a customer service agent, and then became a design apprentice on Scars of Velius, and then was actual full designer on Shadows of Lucklin. So
Okay.
So, and then from there, lead game designer on Planes of Power, and then lead game designer from so on and so forth.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Planes of Power, if I remember, was very well regarded.
Yeah. So if he's the lead game designer, let's just put that in perspective right there.
All right. Granted, that was like 20 some odd
20
years
something
ago.
years ago. Now, this isn't like he's done nothing
Times
since
have changed.
then. Yeah, but he was the lead content designer for DCUO, so which is still makes them bank, right? That's their highest producing game, right?
Yep.
He was a producer on Wizard 101, Pirate 101, which still, those two games still make bank because they're geared towards children and they're safe family friendly environments, right? And oddly enough, I didn't know they were card-based MMOs. Did you know that? Do you know that like those are card games?
No, I did
like
not.
Those are children's card games. I had no idea that. I found that out. It's wild.
Chili, do you have accounts on these games?
Maybe.
I feel like Chili should have accounts on these games.
And he's done a few things since then. So he was doing a stream, right? Like I guess he streams like just him working on stuff every once in a while, or playing EverQuest. Like of course, like as you do as an old EverQuest developer, you would go and play EverQuest. And he was having a chat with his live stream about like, oh, you know what they would want to see in a new, like if they could remake EverQuest, you know, like, hey, if we could bring like EverQuest updated to the new era, what would it look like and what would it be, right? And so it started off as a very like, you know, hey, just a bunch of fans making a thing, let's have a discussion. And then they started making it. He started just doing it. So the things that we usually say is like, you know, like the MMOs that we talk about, like Pantheon and stuff like that, or any like Pantheon, Ashes of Creation, Embers Adrift, which is an MMO that is, you know, there's no like that. They're like, these are very niche games, right? So right there in full front, like this is like about what it would be like to create a niche, smaller budget indie. It's like right off the bat, he knows. He's like that tells me like, hey, this is a developer that's not going to lie to anybody. And so they're developing this game, and they've done stress tests, like not like they're anywhere near done, but they've done stress tests just to test things out. And I gotta say, if it's like someone took the graphic art style of Valheim, which isn't bad. I like the Valheim art style. It's a twist of like older, like, you know, old and new, like pixel, but still updated with lighting and stuff like that. So they're doing that. Like he's using Unity. He's already talked about it on one of his streams. Like he's like, yes, it wasn't great. He's like, but you know, just in case, I know other. He's like, I know other ones, but I'm already so far into this right now. But he says, I will. He's like, just in case they do anything else. He's like, I'm already trying to figure out how to transfer it to other game engines. So just in case. Like, so he's already mentioned it. He's like, just in case. Yeah. He's like, the letter really, he said the letter helped. The open letter to everybody, the apology helped. But just in case.
Happen again, so.
Just in case. So, and I gotta say, Quinton, like, you know, so what they're shooting for, the aesthetic is a low poly, hand painted look with maintains a sense of fantastic realism. I gotta say, they're landing it. It's very. Like, there's something cute about it. Like, there's something like adorable, but also like fun. Like, it reminds me of like a fantasy game that I want to play with my friends. Like, it sounds weird, right? Like, it's not so EverQuesty in old regard, but it's got a charm to it that I kind of like, even though this is very early. And I really like the early images. Like, I know it sounds weird, but like, this is the concept art. Like the dwarves are adorable. I love the dwarves. I was gonna send you.
To be fair, the concept art is a lot better than the current in-game models.
Yeah, it's very true. Still early, but I love the dwarf. Do you see the dwarf? I love him so much. I'm so love him so. The deep gnomes are great, and then like the fact that they want to put in deep dwarves as a playable race, like stone people. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
They have cartography in the game, where it's that's a thing you unlock, and like there is no map. He's like, there's no map. Like you're just gonna have to like wander the world and figure things out. And I was like, I'm okay with that a little bit. Like to me, I know it seems silly, and it does sound silly. Like I know that's like a very like, oh hey, like it's gonna be hard for people to like navigate. But I think about like, so what was like, oh, there's no map, and then I was like, well, Chile has trouble with maps. So, in a world without, in a world with maps, be like Chile. Just pretend the map doesn't exist and just figure it out. So, they're using
you still need a map.
Yeah, I'm assuming cartography as a skill will allow you to make the maps, is what I'm guessing. So
yeah, hopefully. Because if you don't have a map, it's not great.
Yeah, the classes. Do you want to hear some of the classes? I want to see if any of these entice you.
Sure.
Archer, Bard. I already know Bard might be there. Beastmaster.
That one's contentious because if you don't do Bard right, it makes me angry. Actually, just makes me sad. But
we'll find out eventually. Right. Beastmaster, Cleric, Druid, Elementalist, Enchanter, which I thought
Oh yeah.
All right.
I did enjoy my enchanters.
Fighter, Inquisitor, Monk, Necromancer, which slow healer. Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Shadow Knight, Shaman, Spellblade, which is an off-tank class.
So far, this basically sounds exactly like every single EverQuest class.
I know.
Spellblade,
Wizard. The list is not.
Part of me is like, yeah, that sounds cool, but at the same time, like,
oh yeah, no, for sure.
Kind of need to branch out.
People
have been playing these classes for 30 years.
Well,
25 years.
What are you gonna do?
You can make new classes.
I guess.
Spellblade is a good one. Spellblade is a perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, how they play could be different, right? Like they could just be the name Necromancer, but how does the play like that could all change? Yeah. So, and like, do I know if these names will stick? I have no idea. I mean, I like how the ogres look, and I like the concept art. Like, I think part of it is that they were going for I can't remember where I read it. I read it somewhere on the website where they were like, do you have like a love for like heavy metal album covers? I was like, kinda, yeah. Kinda into that, honestly. And like I just like the fact that it's like this low poly, low budget. And by the way, there is no like pay us and this game will be made. There's no Kickstarter yet. So far it's been just we're making it out of passion, and it's a team of 10 people.
I would say that it seems to be about the same level as where Pantheon was 5 years ago, 6, whenever they did their Kickstarter.
Oh, I would say yeah, but at least what I think what my favorite part is that he's developing this game live in front of people. Like his Twitch streams are him either playing EverQuest or designing this, and that's fascinating to me. That he's just having fun developing, even if this game never comes out. Like he's clearly tested it because you can go onto their Discord and download the client, and they're planning another stress tests before the year ends, which I hope to get into and just mess around in. Like I know like half of it's going to be broken and not textured in, but it doesn't matter because I kind of want to jump in and boop around. Here it is: nostalgia, familiarity, timelessness. High referential of classic fantasy themes, tropes, stories, media, and 70s, 80s rock album covers, which I'm kind of into a little bit. Kind of into that.
I feel like if this game does come out, it's definitely a niche game. I think that I would probably play it for a month, maybe.
I don't know. Like, I feel like I could play this. It depends on how It depends how far we get, right? Like how much fun are we having? Is this?
I mean, I see it a lot very similar to a lot of the other things that we've tried out. Like, for example, when we played EverQuest, we played that for about 2 weeks before we stopped and did something else.
Yeah.
We went and played Lost Ark. That lasted about a month before we stopped and did something else. New World, we played for about 3 weeks, maybe a month before we.
I'm still playing.
Here and there, not necessarily consistently.
I'm getting there. I mean, it's better with people, but still, like,
everything is.
Yeah. I feel like this will be one of those ones where I would stick with this for a little bit, just because if it delivers, right? Like, it has to catch me, right? Like,
but that's what I think. Like, it sounds good because it brings back that little bit of nostalgia hit, but at some point it just gets. It's cool, it's there, it's neat, but it's more of a novelty than something that you're gonna sit down and like, think Project Gorgon, right? It was cool, it was neat to go in through. You want to do it again, but I don't think you have.
I don't have the time. I want to so bad. I just don't. And they're gonna be adding ogres, or not ogres, orcs. And I was like, I kind of want to reroll an orc and start on the island again as an orc, which might be more fun.
That's what I see it'll be like, right?
Yeah.
Like, it'll be, you kind of play it for a little bit, you stop playing for a little bit, you think about it again, you're like, oh yeah, I should try that, and you do it again, and then you're like, okay, next thing.
I will say this, the one thing I do like is that they said even solo play ties into a greater communal purpose. So I kind of like that he's planning to, like, he knows that there were limitations to that request, and is planning around, like, hey, we understand that, you know, I think I've even watched, because he puts up a lot of his streams on YouTube, and and he's also interviewed a lot of EverQuest old ones, like the ones that, you know, we're working on EverQuest Next. Boy, there are some great interviews about EverQuest Next on his channel. Some of them just went straight, like, because I'm like, those NDAs are over at this point, so go on full hog, just say whatever. Like Jeff Butler, which, you know, big was right up there with Dave, what's his name? I was gonna say Dave Grohl. That's not right. Dave
Georgeson.
Georgeson. Yeah, Dave Georgeson. Yeah. Who is now making games again, by the way.
I heard.
Yeah. So Jeff Butler was like, hey, like, he asked, like, why do you think EverQuest Next fell? He's like, oh, it's because Dave and I left. He's like, when we left the company, there was nobody else to champion. He's like, and Butler was talking about how Voxel Farm, like, I guess I didn't know that. Did you know they were still developing? Like, they're still around and they were still creating the Voxel Farm? And, like,
no, I mean, there's a really small company.
I had no idea they were still doing it. So for those of you that don't know, like, what I'm speaking is right now is like, what the hell are they talking about? Voxel Farm was a company that the developer Sony Online Entertainment, later Daybreak, were using their engine to create EverQuest Next Landmark / EverQuest Next. And the technology allowed for the world to be destructible, I would say, right? Like, that's the right way of saying it. It was like fully destructible, and like it had tiers to it. So like there was like
it's like Minecraft if Minecraft wasn't blocks.
It was voxels, and they were but so the company, I guess, was still working, and that voxel tech just continued to get better and better and better and better. So right now, like Jeff Butler said, he's like, even now, he's like, it's pretty phenomenal. Like, he's like, given time, if EverQuest Next was still, if it did come out, he's like that game would have been something unreal. Like, he said no one would have been able to touch it because of Voxel Farm's technology. And I was like, that's pretty cool. But it also brought up the like why? why would you like, just, I understand, like, I get it, like, he worked on it, he had passion for it. He's like, things happen. It's unfortunate that things happen like that. And he even said, he's like, I would love to see EverQuest continue. He's like, you know, clearly, you know, that was a G Hom, the CEO of EG7, said that they would like to create a new EverQuest 3 and like that, you know, like to entice investors. It's not.
Yeah.
When I say this, I'm smart enough to know that $30 billion budget and coming out in 2028 is like we want to reinvest in our core franchises, which by all means H1Z1's in the planning phases. Like that one's real. Like that one's he said like we're already that one's happening. And we know that they hired for a game director for EverQuest 3 because there was a listing on their site because I sent it to you. We talked about it off. This is off stream, by the way. If you didn't know, Quinton and I talk about MMOs off the stream. So
maybe.
And so we know that it's there. There's a possibility. And G-Hom said he's like, he was looking at like Elden Ring, right? He's like a game that he said should not have sold as well as it did because people don't like hard games. Like he said, people want difficult games. Like they want bosses that they can go, bang their head against, and then until they officially beat it. And he's like, and EverQuest was that game for a lot of people, but he's like, he knows that it needs to be updated to the modern era. So what does that look like? And part of me is like yes, and part of me is also like no. But like I guess if they can find, I mean, there has to be a middle ground, right? Like you have to have a little bit of both, right? Or just say F it. We know we can make money. They are because we know. I saw their chart because they're at an investor meeting, so they're showing how much income they're making. EverQuest is pulling in cash. It is pulling in money. I'm shocked. Like I'm shocked at how much money it pulls in. Like DCUO is still pulling way more money, so I'm not gonna front about that.
Are they including subscriptions?
I don't know,
because that's a little bit of an interesting thing for it because their subscription works across all of their games.
But DCUO is still pulling in more.
So right, but it could be something like they take one subscription, like say your subscription is $15 a month and they have 5 games, so each game may get $3.
Yeah.
Right? They may get a bunch of money attributed to them, even though people aren't playing the game. I don't know how they're doing that math.
I would think it's also sales, right? Like market sales or like
sales.
Oh,
yeah. There's still other stuff as well.
I'm sure they're looking at that because like EverQuest 2 is not making as much money. as making money.
As they keep trying to get me to play again. Yes.
Yeah. It's making money. And Chili's right. DCUO is on way more platforms because it's also on consoles. And I believe it had an update for the PS5. I could be wrong, but I believe it had an engine update for the PS5. It's on the way. Okay, it's on the way. They're putting money into it. That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, they are putting money into it. And like they want to revamp MechWarrior, which MechWarrior, that's an Xbox owned brand, but they own the right. Like it's they'd have to go through Microsoft, but they own the right. It's a weird relationship. They own the rights, but Microsoft owns what is it? They own the Microsoft owns, yes. There we go. So they would have to go through Microsoft to make a new MechWarrior, but they have plans for it. I think they would. Microsoft would want to.
Unless Ubisoft owns it now.
I don't think we do.
No, they got because they got the streaming rights for.
They got the streaming rights, but they no, the cloud rights. They got the cloud rights.
Okay.
Cloud rights, not the streaming rights. Cloud rights. So I mean, Microsoft could still go their way and still make bank on that. So again, what I'm saying is that like I kind of dig this game. I don't. You're right. I don't know how long I'd play it, but it could be a month. Could be a year. Don't know. Like it could be anything in between that.
I think it's a niche. It's the thing that you go back to every now and then.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how it plays yet. I would love, but even when I go in the stress test, I'm not going to play it like a game. I'm going to play it just as I'm exploring this thing that is in
a game.
More of a like this is in progress, right? Like I may not even like go.
Oh yeah.
Like I may go just check out the world and see what they're working on But like the water's gorgeous. Like the water animation in the water is gorgeous. The music's phenomenal. Like I found their composer. He's putting all the songs on YouTube. Great stuff.
And weird. It's kind of weird that they have a composer at this stage because I really feel like they need to have a lot of other things before they do that.
They have a lot of the things. That's the weird thing is that where do they have the team? They have the team. Sean, a Living Robot, Sony King Isle Entertainment. He's doing all the lead stuff right now. He's busting hump. Like he's like I'm surprised at how much he's getting done so quickly.
It's easy when it's just yourself.
I don't think it is just him though, because he's got. Let's see. Nick is a.
It's much easier to manage a 10-person team than a 60+ person team.
That is very true. I mean, but he's got the chops to do that because he's worked on so many. Yeah, so he's clearly worked on teams where he's done that before as a lead. So, and then he's got Robert, Helsinki-based pianist and composer. Oh, cool. He's wait a minute. Currently active in Finnish bands Von Hertzen Brothers, Teresis, and isn't Teresis a metal band? Teresis? Yeah, okay. Let's put that in a concept.
I mean,
that's pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. And Koska. What is Koska? Is that like a weird like? I gotta look this up. Sorry, everybody.
Not familiar.
Scandinavian synth pop duo. I love it. I might have to go listen to them after this. I don't hate it. Do not hate that.
Yeah,
idea.
no, that's an interesting one.
I would.
Scandinavian synth pop
duo, no less. So, I love that all of them are. A lot of them are on Twitch, like rather playing games and or designing. So so just something to keep an eye out for. You know, I don't know where it'll land, but I do like a lot of the concept art. Like I said, if they make the dwarves look like just like the dwarves, where you can't even see their eyes and it's just like a big old beard, I might be damn sold.
The only question with dwarves is do all dwarves have beards? Because if the answer is no, then
it should be
it doesn't work. Yeah,
it doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work.
All dwarves have beards.
All dwarves have beards. I'm looking at some more concept art. I will say this. The dwarven woman is taller than the dwarven man, which I kind of like.
Not surprising.
I kind of like that. Now, the dwarven man is wider, so
same dimensions, just distributed differently.
Yeah. It just looks different. Also, I love the dark. What are they? The dark. The deep gnomes. The deep gnomes are cute. As hell. They're cute as hell. But I still feel like you would be some sort of elf.
No, I don't like playing elves in games. They tend to be way tight.
What about deep elf?
No. Still tend to be too uptight. I mean, that's a very similar to like a dark elf, a drow.
Although the wood elf is very.
Trying to see if I can go find all with it.
They have a like a.
All of them? No, that's classes.
Yeah, they have a palette. Trolls are wild. They're so big.
Yeah, trolls. Well, not necessarily. Trolls are probably similar to like an ogre.
Hey,
they're not that much larger. Yeah.
Are you looking at like the list of all the characters and like the wide, long, like drawing of it
now? Yes.
What's that on the far right? Have you ever heard of a race that's that? Yeah. Have you ever heard of that as a race?
It's a plant.
It is a plant.
No, not typically a race. No.
Hey, Susan, you want to be a weird root?
We already played Sylvari in Guild Wars 2, remember?
Yeah, no, but
I would be a plant child. The mandrake, depending on what. See, this is going to be one of those things that it's going to depend on the personality of the races.
That's true.
Looking at them from aesthetics.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, wait, hold on.
Aesthetically, out of all of these, I would probably play the Deep Gnome first.
Okay, so that's what I was going to go. I was like, let me guess. Because I was going to say, yeah. Yeah, I instantly like looked at the Deep Gnome and was like, "That's Quinton."
Yeah,
see, it's funny because I look at Deep Gnome and see Quinton, and I look at Susan. Susan is of two minds, right? She likes aesthetic, but right now, like I feel like she doesn't think any of these are good looking. She might go high elf, depending on like the end game concept art. Although halfling, she might go with, depending on how cute they are. Like they might be cute as little buttons. So,
but also consider gremlin races.
Yeah, it's true.
And then the Mandrake works really well.
It's also true. If I had to go with, if I was throwing Chili in the mix, although Chili likes being gnomes, Chili I think would sooner be a halfling. There's some like Chili likes, Chili.
Maybe that's what he plays in D&D too.
It's true. Like I know he likes short races, and gnomes are technically shorter than halflings. But I also know that Chili doesn't like to look like goofy, like weird. Like he likes to have some monicum of like
The gnomes don't look weird. They just look.
They look like the old man from
angry.
Up.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, Chili would go halfling. Yeah. See, for you, I'm not sure who you would pick because I feel like you would go with a dwarf, but I don't know which one. Because on one hand, stone metal dwarves, but on the other hand, massive beard dwarves.
Yeah. I do like the massive beard dwarf. I love that dwarf so much that I may go get a tattoo of him later. Like I love,
but like so Stonebeard.
Yeah, I know, but I also get I love all of it. I also love the concept art for all the classes because the wizard is clearly Gandalf. Clearly Gandalf.
I need to go bigger on this.
Although
one.
I love the archer is like a Tibetan style, like right? Am I wrong about that? Like almost like a Tibetan style.
I could not tell you.
Although the bard armor is phenomenal.
Not a fan.
It's a fop. Come on, it's a foppish dandy, and I love it.
Style wise, sure, yes. Color wise, no.
Oh no, color wise.
Why do we have the banana gear?
You don't want to swoon people with your banana hat.
Banana hat, sure. Banana, rest of the no.
Banana hat.
Yeah. Aesthetically, out of all of these, there's only one. There's one that I would 100% play it based on these aesthetics.
Hold on. I gotta look at all of them really quick. Okay. Monk, no. Monk is Chili. Monk, no. Beastmaster, no.
Monk is Chili, yeah.
Shaman, no. Although cool. Spellblade, that's in the maybe pile. Elementalist, probably Susan. Enchanter,
I don't think so.
Druid, I could see Susan as if she wants to be cool.
I think Susan would be more to the Druid based on these aesthetics.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe pile, Necromancer, what did I say earlier? Spellblade, Necromancer, Rogue. That's my maybe pile. I'm gonna shorten the list up. Shadow Knight's probably closer to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inquisitor based on some, and then that's the snake hair lady. And then if I had to go off of them, part of me says Inquisitor because of the purple. I think the book and the sword mixture and the hood and the long like cowl coming off of it speaks to you a lot. So, and also depending how it plays. So,
well, everything is how it plays. I'm just going off of aesthetics right now.
But I'll that or the Necromancer. But the purple, I like
Necromancer. The first thing was just Necromancer.
Yeah, I like the Necromancer because I could see a deep gnome.
Even with the deep gnome thing, like that would also be great as a Necromancer, but just like the long ragged robes, the nice fancy staff, and the little dagger with the pointy like hood. Just
and I'm pretty sure that's blood on the there could be blood on the hands or fruit punch. I mean, it's red. There's red on the hands.
Oh, there was red in there.
Yeah, there's red in there. It's probably fruit punch.
I missed that at first. Definitely punch something.
I love it. I love all of this. It is like very 80s metal, like old D&D like drawings. Oh, there's art. Like, have you scrolled through it? There's art of a deep gnome sitting on a branch, and I love it. Also like the dragon, like the bone dragon.
Yeah. Oh, the dragon was really good. Yeah, that's solid to put that at the front.
Yeah. Oh,
Because if they didn't, it wouldn't have been as
the
interesting.
dwarven mountain with the big dwarven face on the front of it. Rakshasa.
That just walk right into its mouth.
Yeah.
But for people who are listening, I'm hoping, I think the link will be in the show notes, so you'll be able to go through the images and the concept art on your own time as well.
The concept art is very good, like very, very good. Very good. I hope that they can realize this to their art style in game. And really, I know they're like refining it because he said that like it's very early on and he's trying to refine it to try to be as close between a mixture between their art style and what the concept art is. So I don't know. I'm kind of here for it. If we play it for a month or 2 years, who the hell knows?
Yeah, I would give it a shot just to try it out when it comes out. But like every single other pre-release game and announced game and pretty much everything, until it is actually released, we don't pay attention.
We don't pay attention. I know. I think it's been worked on since I want to say 2020. I think it was during the Pandy. Yeah, it was Pandy.
That would make sense.
It was Pandy. I guess it was everybody's at home, so let's throw on a Twitch stream and talk. And then next thing you know, you start developing a game.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm here for it. I'm really here for it. So, I think at the end of the day, I also just like watching him create. I think it's just fascinating to watch him work, and like his thought process about it. So so shout out to Monsters and Memories. Also go check out A Loving Robot on Twitch and the YouTube channel. Also, if you just want to see him interview old EQ devs, my favorite 2-hour interview is him and the current president of Dark Paw Games, Jen Chan. She was so nice. Like she was such a like that. Quinton, that is a wonderful interview. Like it's so good. I know we don't really, like I know we say like, Daybreak Games and like as I would really like it really changed my opinion about I think I would go listen to it because just not because she was trying to shill her games, you could tell she's just passionate about EverQuest. And I think that if she had the option, things would have been different. Like I'm saying, like I think those choices were made before her time, and I think given so, and there's also right now
a lot of things.
There's a lot of things. Also, there's a interview right now. There's a YouTube channel called the EverQuest Show, which is no relation to Dark Paw. There's the guy that's passionate about EverQuest and likes to interview people. He does an interview with Brass. It's about 15 minutes long, and maybe hinting at a fanfare for the 30th anniversary of EverQuest. That
again remains to be seen.
That would be wild. It's a hint. I mean, it's rumblings. There's always a like it may not ever happen, but what if there is a fanfare for the 30th anniversary for EverQuest, would you go?
It really depends.
Would we go?
That's still 6 years away.
Like for
that is
EverQuest?
a long time. Yeah.
EverQuest
came out in 1999.
That's
so
true.
30 years will be 2029.
Oh my god.
6 years. Yeah, that's why like 30 years. It's still a very long time away. It's hard to tell.
Still, like if they say, "Hey, we're gonna do it," would you go?
I'm not sure.
I think I would. I think I would go. I think I mean I have gone to Final Fantasy Fan Fest. I think I would go to a fan if it was the 30th anniversary of EverQuest. I might go.
But it depends, right? Like it depends on who's going and why it's there. Like if it's just a get together thing, like maybe. If there's a bunch of people that I know going, probably. But would I just go to go? Probably not.
Okay, let's say if I and Susan were going.
I would consider it.
And if Brass is there.
I don't know Brass, but Brass is awesome. So,
So.
yeah. I think it would be one of those things of like, if they were to plan something like that, that would be something that we would plan. It's like, wait, I have to go?
Yeah, but Brass
I
is
think
nice.
that's something that we'd want to plan as like a group
Oh,
thing,
for
right?
sure.
Like we get together, we go to FanFest together, right? Or if we try to get together outside of FanFest, which has not been successful, that would be probably something where we get a bunch of people and be like, hey, let's all go to this.
Yeah.
EverQuest was also my first MMO Chile, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to go to another one. Because the last time that I went to last time I went to a fanfare, they canceled it afterwards. So I'm not sure if it's good for me to go to these things.
I don't think you're the catalyst of what happened. If you want my opinion, I think Sony Online cut the final check, and the company that bought them was just trying to shore up accounts and cancel things. So
probably, but I was at the last one.
You were. Really were. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. Smed left Amazon.
Yeah.
A lot of some of the devs that were working with Smed had went over from Pixel Mage, went over to Amazon. That one to the left, Daybreak, went over to Pixel Mage with Smed, and then went over to Amazon. Smed left Amazon. I don't know if those devs are following Smed, because Smed has pointed out, like, making video games again. Like, I was like, what are they all doing? There's something weird going on.
If they are, I would be worried.
I don't think they're working together.
Yeah, that's the part I'd be worried about.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
Touch anything that he's involved in.
He's a
end of sentence.
he's something.
Yeah, we could say that.
He's something. All right. He's definitely polarized. He's polarizing for sure. Like I like him. He's nice as a person. Like what he backs up is okay to me, but his the way his business sense, I guess, is not the greatest. I guess that's the nicest way of saying it. Like the way he thought about like I think initially he had like great. He clearly wanted to bring EverQuest. Like he pitched EverQuest. EverQuest came because of him. I'm not saying he's got bad ideas, but I think he's a person that, as he got later on in life, he was like, you know who I am? I'm the guy who pitched EverQuest. like there's a little bit of that in him, and
yeah.
Like that spark never hit again. Like he had a banger with H1Z1. Like that wasn't bad, but he just.
And then threw it away.
Which was such a dumb move. Like,
yeah,
it could have been if given a chance. If it started the whole. By the way, if you don't know, it was the original Fortnite. It started the whole thing of survival games. That was the very first one, and it was hot shit.
Well, it was more of the battle royale rather than the Fortnite.
The Fortnite, yeah, the battle royale thing. It was,
yeah.
Fortnite is a battle royale, so. Well, it's something else.
I don't think Fortnite's been battle royale for a long time now.
No, it's just memes and dances and animes and animus and everything in between. So,
and money grabs.
Yeah, I'm I don't know. I don't know if I'm just feeling nostalgic or it's because it's getting crispy out and just I want to stay inside and play MMOs. I don't know.
Honestly, this is the best time to go outside though, because it's not too hot, not too cold.
Oh no, we're going. Yeah, we're taking Poe for a walk, so don't worry. Like it's gonna be a good mix of just eating soup and wearing a hoodie and playing MMOs. That's really what it is.
Yeah, that sounds pretty solid.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll see what happens. Maybe I'll just go poke around in EverQuest 2, see what's going on there. Fish.
Nope.
No fishing. Okay. No, just no EverQuest 2.
No.
You just burned so hard about that game. Huh?
That game did so many bad things to me. I would consider going back to play through it, but I would need a dedicated group to do it.
EverQuest 2?
Mm-hmm.
Holy hell!
But it would be like actually like a dedicated like we schedule like we go and play during this like on this day at this time for this period, and we go through and like do stuff.
That game is wild.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that game is wild, bud.
I'd want to go through on like old school stuff.
Yeah,
Like start at the beginning, go do the introductory stuff, and
God, what was the? Oh God, what was
this?
What was that
The
name?
Owl
Of that?
Refuge. What are you
No,
thinking
the
of?
first dungeon that you go through, like one of the very first dungeons.
Oh.
God,
There wasn't really. Oh, there were dungeons.
there was EverQuest 2. There were, and they were
It's not the one in. There's two.
Wailing
There's two.
Caves.
Wailing Caves was the one on the Freeport.
and then Blackburrow.
Wailing Caves was also not a dungeon. It's
It was
open world.
It was open world, but it was a dungeon. It's considered a dungeon.
It's an open world zone still. It's a public dungeon.
It's a public dungeon.
Because there are instance dungeons as well, which is what I was thinking of. And there's an equivalent. I think it's Blackburrow on the
Blackburrow
other side.
Yeah, Blackburrow is the one in.
Haven't touched this game in.
It's in Shattered Lands.
12 years at least.
Mm-hmm.
It's in where?
That's the one with all the gnolls, right? Like that's all the gnolls.
It's Blackburrow, yes.
Yeah.
And Wailing Caves is.
God,
I think it's skeletons and undead.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Fall.
I still remember a lot of that game. I spent a lot of time.
Wailing Caves, you have to go into the. That's the. You got to go through the mouth on the Wailing Caves. It's one of those ones.
You do have to go through the mouth hole.
You gotta go through the mouth. So there's a lot. EverQuest 2, I gotta say, EverQuest 2 did a lot of things that a lot of MMOs nowadays pulled in, because it had, you could, what's it called? Not time walk, but like you could level down to somebody and still get experience.
Chronomancer,
yeah.
Stuff that they did there.
The weird things about EverQuest,
but even before that though, they had mentoring. The mentoring system was
they had mentoring
a long time before that.
Their house, still to this day, you and I.
Their housing system is by far the best. Although I've never tried ESO housing. Yeah,
ESO housing's it's not EverQuest 2 housing.
Yeah.
ESO housing's good. It's just it still has limitations. Yeah.
Well, it was Domino involved with that.
She was involved with. Oh, was she?
I know she did a lot of the crafting stuff later, but I can't remember.
She
was involved with the housing. I don't remember how much though.
She did all the crafting, and by the way, EverQuest 2 crafting probably still one of the best crafting.
It is really good crafting.
It's just one of the best.
Although it is also just like it is very.
Yeah, it's
you can buy that pretty easily.
Yeah, you can. Chili's
not that I have.
Chili's interested in the housing changes in 7.x. I will say, Chili, the housing changes in 7.x. So you're aware that
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but
we don't know what it is yet, right?
No, they said that they're going to try to work on. The way
that they phrased it, it wasn't confirmed of how. People have a lot of speculation about what it's going to be, but they haven't confirmed it.
Let's just say right now the speculation is that it'll Doctor Who your house and it'll be bigger on the inside. Yeah. So, I mean, whatever. Like that's what they need to do to make people happy. But it would. I mean, if anything, it would negate the reason for them to. The only thing they'll have to do is make more rewards, and then like the only reason to buy a large house is to have larger outside space. That's it. So,
and I have a feeling that it will probably be the same amount of money.
Oh,
so like you buy a small, you want to make the inside a medium, you probably have to pay the difference in order to.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Upgrade.
I don't see. It makes sense. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. So, Susan, I'm just happy if they take the pillars away. So, yeah, I mean, EverQuest 2 housing though, like not like the
hands down
best housing. Oddly
Guild
enough,
Halls too.
Yeah, oh for sure. Like best.
They did a Guild Halls much better than any other game that I've ever seen.
They did a lot right. You gotta give them credit. They did a lot right with the game. There's when they had to go free to play, that's when it really took a turn.
They messed up before the free to play part, but the free to play part also did not help and kind of push them down.
It's
really
funny.
Fast.
Josh Strife Hayes did a worst MMO on EverQuest 2, and he said that if you ignore the cash shop, he said EverQuest 2 is probably one of the best MMO experiences he ever had. That's
for its era, I would say definitely. This day and age, I think it's a little bit harder to say because there's so many different options out there. It depends a lot more on like what do you prefer. It's much more personal opinion now.
I think for him, he said like for him, he would prefer that type of MMO. He said it's just sad that they kept forcing like this like if the pop-up could go away about the damn store, he said he would have loved every aspect of this game. He's like he loved the exploration of it. So
and see, I played way back when I enjoyed all of the stuff that I originally shipped with. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. Then they started making things a lot needlessly complex, for the sake of complexity and for whatever reason. Like with alternate advancement things and then socketing weapons and gems and all sorts of things that made it just not terribly. It's too much theory crafting. And then of course gear treadmill and whatnot, but
now it's all just power. Like they just keep increasing power levels, and like now people are just doing like 18 million damage. I'm like, oh god.
I mean, they did a stat squash when I played.
They have not done one since
like 15 years ago or something.
So they have not done your stat squash it's nuked at this point. It's too far. They need to do another one.
Yeah, probably. They had a lot of really interesting stuff, especially because they are a much older game. Like they launched the same time that Warcraft did. I think.
Was it a few weeks before?
I can't remember.
Or
I think it was slightly before. I think EverQuest launched like a week or two before Warcraft did, in the US at least, because I got access to the game a couple weeks after the US version did.
So World of Warcraft launched in
2004.
November 23rd, 2004.
Then it launched earlier because it was November 12th or 11th, 2004.
Yeah. November 8th, to be exact.
8th, okay. I got close. I knew it was early because I didn't get access to it until a week or two later because it wasn't available for some reason. I don't remember why. Maybe I just didn't get it. Long time ago. But yeah, they like the team that they had back then was pretty solid on it. Like they had really good lore. Like I still like you do the lore in WoW and all of that and the deep lore, and I didn't know the lore to that level, but like it had very deep lore when it started.
And
then it kind of went off the rails, but a lot of the lore people had left at that point. So
and it had Christopher Lee as Overlord.
That's true. They did get
Overlord,
Christopher Lee.
Was it Lucan Delaire?
Lucan Delaire.
Also, he was the pizza representative.
Slash Pizza.
Do you remember the ad for Slash Pizza?
Vaguely.
Oh my god.
But that wasn't the worst one. We could go into a whole thing on this, but Slash Pizza was, as far as weird things go, Slash Pizza was okay. Warcraft did much weirder things.
That's very true. I'm gonna pop the image in the show notes so you can see it.
Yeah, the whole like
I like that they use his image of him holding the sword, but him holding the pizza. They just photoshopped the pizza over his hand.
Yep.
Order pizza while playing EverQuest 2. By the way,
weird integration.
God, it was such a weird, but it worked, right? Like it should have worked. I don't know.
I was in Canada. It wasn't available.
Did anybody? I would love to know if anybody ordered a pizza.
Sure, someone did.
You think if
I
tweeted that out, I'll get an answer?
I don't know. Do you think any of those people still use Twitter? You think any of those people use Twitter in the first place? Go ask an IRC. You might have more luck.
Hey, you guys order pizza?
Oh, yeah.
I got my pepperoni pizza, noob. I'll see you at TeamSpeak. No, wait. Yeah, what, Ventrilo?
Yep. Ventrilo and TeamSpeak were the ones, and then
TeamSpeak.
Mumble was starting to come out.
Yeah, Mumble. Had a Mumble server because it was cheaper.
Yeah, Mumble was really, really good. It was also a lot better.
It was. The quality
people
was
used
so
it.
good. It
Yeah.
was so good. It was cheaper and less people used it, so the servers were better. And everybody's like, why are you using Mumble? It's like, bro, I pay for this so we can talk to each other. I was paying like $10 a month or whatever it was. So
Yeah. But then if you really want to go, you have stuff like Raid Call and yeah.
Listen to two old guys talk about Wax and Moon over back in the day on the internet.
I never had Raid Call, thankfully. So
we had to pay so we could talk to each other.
Oh yeah, that was true.
Yeah, you want to be social with your friends? Too bad. Gotta.
But it was also one of those weird things of like you have to either like jump in game to chat in real time.
Yeah.
Which again, EverQuest 2 has one of the best chat systems in any game.
Oh, Chelly remembers his mom downloading Ventrilo to play Puzzle Pirates. Like with who?
I remember I made my Ventrilo bright green.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could theme it.
You could theme it.
Yeah, Raid Call. So there was an app called Raid Call that would help you with like alerting everybody for it. But yeah, Raid Call was literally, they did the phone tree type system where people would call you on your phone to say, hey, this is up.
Yeah. So
worldwide progression was a lot more cutthroat back then.
So I had a friend in high school because I was young and working a job to pay for my car, and I couldn't afford to pay for monthly gaming. But I had a friend who did, and he played EverQuest, and I got to go to his house and watch him play it. Watching EverQuest by proxy of someone else playing it's still fascinating and still fun in a weird way. Like you're online playing with other people. Yeah, I remember being at his house at 3 a.m. and he getting a phone call. This is like early Nokia cell phone days, getting a phone call saying, hey, it's up. And he was in game and they were like trying to fight some like rare mob of a tree. And he's like, I got it. I was like, what just happened?
Giving random strangers all over the internet your phone number so that they could call you in the case that it's some online game monster
This
appeared.
does not happen anymore. This is not.
No, it does.
Like
sometimes I don't even give people my Discord name. Like
we talked a little bit about this last night, like Kami Jason and I, and saying like I felt like people were less like, I don't remember my parents telling me like someone on the internet's gonna try to kidnap you. Don't talk to strangers on the internet
because they didn't know what the internet was.
They didn't know what the internet was. And now like Gen Z grew up with it in a very different era, and then everything's like you got to be safe, and anyone on the internet's trying to murder you. They're trying to touch you and murder you.
These days that's probably a lot more accurate.
True, fair, but at the same time, I don't know, I kind of just want to play games and see what happens. Although I also don't think anyone's trying to touch me or murder me on the internet. So.
Wrong demographic.
I'm out of the age range now. No one's trying to offer me lemonade and show me how to. I don't know I don't know how that works. Are you a deer?
Look. Well, at least you didn't say look at my horse. I mean,
damn it, they got me. Are you a deer?
ASL.
Although that deer did offer me to turn me into a pig, so I don't know what that means. He's like, I got a pig potion if you want to do that later. Like, yeah, maybe I do. I don't know. I really gotta get back in that game, honestly.
One of your like 3 a.m. not doing anything, just like, all right, I'm gonna hop into this game and see if I can be a pig.
It might be the best damn story I hear on the next episode of Maelstrom Radio.
You need to start going and playing that game and then record like a solo podcast that is just you explaining your adventures in this game.
Yeah, so I milked a man. because he was a cow.
Doing
That's a thing you can be. That I know.
I'm sure it is, and I'm also that's the
I only
best
know.
explanation you can
I
have for
only
that,
know
'cause-
this is because when Gorgon first originally came out, I don't. This is way old. Gorgon came out during Evercast days.
Yes.
Early concept. It was very cheap, and I remember
Decade ago.
my old co-host Tanlin got it as well because he was like, I'll jump into this because this seems like up my alley, right? It's weird and like quirky.
Yeah, it does.
And at one point, he became a cow, and I milked him and got a buff for drinking his milk. And if you all, when I say like Quinton knows Tanlin, when I tell you Tanlin cracked up, laughed, that he's hard to break.
Oh, he's very hard to break, but when he breaks, it's
delightful. He was like, I was like, thank you for the buff. He's like, do you just milk me and drink me and get a buff? I was like, I sure did, Chief. I said, fresh from the tap. So what we're saying is, in the downtime of Final Fantasy XIV, there's plenty of weird, obscure MMOs out there that you can enjoy and try. So maybe we suggest some of them. What are you doing in the downtime?
Play the esoteric ones that no one has heard of.
Oh, those are the best.
Maybe you'll get to milk a man.
Maybe you will. And honestly, that's a nice little Saturday night. And with that, I think that's it for us on this episode of Maelstrom Radio. That's all I got.
Did you know that you can also do that in Monster Camp?
Oh, that's true. So, well, with that, thank you everybody for joining us on this episode of Maelstrom Radio. If you'd like to milk a man, go download Project Gorgon. If not, you can follow us here at our link tree, of course, and catch us on our game streams. Remember, the next podcast won't be until November. We're doing one a month throughout the end of the year, just because holidays and traveling and everything in between. So, but it is spoopy season. We are doing spoopy streams, so you can catch me finish Little Misfortune. The first stream, I believe, is up on YouTube. So go catch that. It's delightful. So Dykes forever on that one. Doing Grounded on Sunday.
Hey, I'm going to be doing Grounded on Sunday, so we'll be. What were we doing? Oh, we got to go back underwater.
I wasn't there. I should be home, so I'll see.
Yeah, you weren't there last stream, so we went underwater, and it was a lot of fun and also hard. So we need bone.
So by the time you listen to this, the audio version, Little Miss Sunshine, the first part one of Little Misfortune will be up on YouTube. Little Miss Sunshine is
about the same thing, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, technically both could have Steve Carell, and I'm not aware of it. So. Thank you everybody for joining us on this episode of Maelstrom Radio. We'll catch you on the next one, and as always, till sea swallows all, go milk a man.